So, Hare Krishna devotees. So, today we are doing the verse number 10.2. So, let me share my screen and so start reading it, okay? So, here is it. Name vidussuraganaha prabhavam na maharshayah aham adirhi devanam maharshinam cha sarvashah. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Neither the host of demigods nor the great sages know my opulence, origin or opulence, for in every respect I am the source of the demigods and sages. Okay, so what does this verse say? Let us try to understand. Okay. Name viduhu suraganaha. Na means never. Me, my. Viduhu, no. Suraganaha means the demigods. That is the first line. Prabhavam na maharshayaha. Prabhavam means origin, opulences. Na, never. Maharshayaha, great sages. Aham, I am. Adihi, the origin. He, certainly. Devanam, of the demigods. Maharshinam, of the great sages. Cha, also. Sarvashaha, in all respects. So simply put, Krishna is saying that the Suraganaha, that is the demigods, and Maharshayaha, that is the great sages, Name viduhu, they do not know me, nor they understand Prabhavam na, means they don't understand my origin or opulences. He's saying, Krishna is saying, neither the host of demigods nor the great sages know my origin or my opulence. Name viduhu suraganaha prabhavam na maharshayaha ahamadir. That means he's saying, because, the reason why they don't understand who I am is because Aham Adir. This is the very important thing that we have to remember. Aham Adir. I am the source. He Devana. When the word he comes, he means certainly, means undoubtedly, definitely it is me who is the source for them. So Adi, so Krishna is saying he is Adi. For whom he is Adi? Is he Adi only for the Devanam, only for the Devatas? Maybe Maharshis, he is not the origin. No, he is saying Aham Adirhi Devanam Maharshinam cha. Okay, maybe he is only the origin of the Devanam, that is the demigods, and Maharshinam, only the sages. Maybe there is somebody else who is before Krishna. Then he is saying cha sarvashaha, everything, everybody. So there is nobody who is before me. In simple words, he's saying he is the source. So that is our theme for today. That Krishna is the origin of everyone and everything. Right? So Krishna is also called as Adi Deva. In the Brahma Samhita, it says, Ishvara Parama Krishna. Sachidananda Vigraha Aradiradir Govindam Sarva Karana Karanam. There is a prayer by Lord Brahma where it says Parameshwara is Krishna. Ishvara Parama Krishna. Parameshwara is Krishna. And he is Sachidananda Vigraha. He is Sachidananda. And Anadiradi. Very interesting. Anadi. Adi. Anadi means he has no origin, he has no beginning. He is the beginning. Anadir, he doesn't have a source, but he himself is the source. Anadir Adir Govindam. So, Sarva Karana Karana. That means he is the cause for everything and everybody. That's what it basically means. Right? Kindly mute yourself, Hare Krishna. So the point that we have to understand is Krishna is the source of everyone and everybody. Right? So here it is given in the purport that no one is greater than him. So the definition of the supreme is very simple. When you say supreme or infinity or the absolute truth, nobody is greater than him. He's also called as Asamodhva. So there is the Upanishad Vakya which says that there is nobody who is greater than the Supreme. Right? Tamishwaranam Paramam Maheshwaram. This is Upanishad Vakya. Tam Ishwaranam Paramam Maheshwaram. That means among all the Ishwaras, undoubtedly there are many Ishwaras. Ishvara means controller. There are many great controllers in this material world. But among all those controllers of the material world, there is Paramam Maheshwaram. There is somebody who is beyond all of these Ishvaras. There is one supreme. That is Ishvara, Parama Krishna. Who is the origin? So who is the first person? Adideva, who is the source of everybody. He is the cause of causes. Karana, Sarva Karana Karanam. The efficient cause, the remote cause, the original cause, who is sleeping in the causal ocean. That's why it's called causal ocean. Karana. Karanodakashayi Vishnu. Karana means cause. So he is the cause of all causes. The entire material world is actually coming from him. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And the thing is, because he is the source, nobody can understand him. He is not understood even by the Devatas. There are so many Devatas who are administrators for various functions in the material world. And they are very powerful in this material world. But unfortunately, they cannot understand Krishna. They cannot understand Krishna fully. The reason is because you cannot understand your origin. So it is like this. So if there is a baby within the womb of a mother, that baby is able to see nothing except the amniotic fluid. So the baby may say, I don't have a mother. But that's not the case. Similarly, a child may say, I don't have a father. But to find out whether he has a father or not, he has to ask his mother. The mother will say, no, you do not know. You are a child. Here is your father. So similarly, we are like children. We may not know or we may not agree. The child may not agree that I do not have a father. But that does not mean anything. Even if we do not agree that there is no supreme, even if we do not agree, it does not mean anything because the Father is there. The Supreme Father is there, is present. And we need to take the instruction of the mother to understand who is our Father. It is said that the Father is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, and Mother is the Shastra or the Vedas or the Bhagavad-gītā. So by hearing from the Vedas, by hearing from the Mother, we understand who is our Father. Only Mother can say who is our Father. We cannot speculate who is our Father. And how do we understand that he is the Father? We have to ask a very simple question. How do you understand that this person is supreme? Is there any source for him? What is the source for him? So just like if we analyze ourselves, what is the cause for us? Our parents. What is the cause for our parents? Their parents or grandparents. What is the cause for the grandparents? Great grandparents. If we go on like that, ultimately, where will it go? It won't go to a monkey. for sure. It will go to Lord Brahma. It will go to Lord Brahma. So Lord Brahma is the father in the material world. So he is like the grandfather, great-grandsire, great-grandfather. And his father, who is his father, we have to analyze. Then we can go to the original source. Are you understanding? So we'll come to that. So who is Lord Brahma's father? Where is Lord Brahma coming from? Right? That is how we have to analyze. So the Supreme Lord does not have a source. So here it is said, even the demigods and great sages cannot understand Krishna. They can neither understand his name nor his personality. So what is the position of the so-called scholars of this tiny planet? So, for example, we keep hearing this argument. I have heard this Swamiji say that Krishna is not the Supreme. So let that Swamiji say, it does not matter, because here it is said, what is the position of the so-called scholars of this tiny planet? When even the great demigods and great sages cannot understand Krishna, they cannot understand who he is, what is the power of his name, what is his personality, they are not able to understand because he is the source. Then what to talk about these tiny scholars? Let them think like that. By design, they cannot understand. They cannot understand because Supreme Lord cannot be understood. Nobody can understand why the Supreme Lord, okay, just a minute, sorry. Yeah, no one can understand why the Supreme God comes to the earth as an ordinary human being and executes such wonderful, uncommon activities. Kunti Maharani, in her prayers, she prays to Krishna and says, it is so wonderful, it is so bewildering for me to understand that you, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, have taken birth in the clan of Vrishnis, just like sandalwood born in the forest of Malay. Malayaschaiva Chandanam. Just because there is a sandalwood that is grown in Malay, the forest of Malay, doesn't mean that it is Malaysian sandalwood. It is sandalwood, that's all. Sandalwood can come anywhere. Just because it is born in the Malay forest, it is not Malaysian sandalwood. It is simply sandalwood. Similarly, the Supreme Lord, even though he is appearing out of his own sweet will, by the power of his internal potency, we cannot say that he is belonging to the Yadava clan only, but yet we call him as Yadava. So it is very difficult to understand his uncommon activities. What is the reason why he has come? He has not come here because of balance of karma like us. He has come on a mission. And the mission that Lord has come is explained. Right? It is explained in the Gopi Gita. The Gopis are singing in the Gopi Gita that you have come Vikhanasartithat Vishvato Mukhat. That means the Lord Brahma requested, that is why you have come. That means he is already there. Krishna is born. What is the meaning of Krishna's birth? Krishna doesn't have a birth. He is Aja. His name only is Aja. That means there is no birth for him. There is no death for him. He is always present. But because Lord Brahma, Vikanasartitat Vishvato Mukha, Lord Brahma, along with all the demigods, they came because the earth was full of lot of irreligious kings like Jarasandha, etc. So the earth planet had come and requested, Bhudevi requested Lord Brahma. So Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva and all the Devatas, they all went to Shvetadvipa. And then they sat down in the shore of the Shvetadvipa and they cannot see directly also Lord. It is not possible to see the Lord face to face, even by the demigods. So then they had to sit down. Lord Brahma sat down in meditation and he communicated a message to the Supreme Lord that Bhudevi is in trouble. please come to reduce the burden of the material world. So then the Lord comes. This is the purpose. Lord comes. Arjuna is asking, what is your mission? Who are you? What is your mission, oh my dear Lord? Kalosmi loka kshaya pravruto. Krishna is saying, I am the time and I have come to destroy everybody here, excluding you Pandavas. Everybody in this Kurukshetra are going to be wiped off. And I'm here on a mission to finish off everybody. He's on a mission. Krishna has come here and he's doing wonderful, uncommon activities. He has now become the chariot driver of Arjuna. Yet his position is Achyuta. He does not fall down from his position, whatever role he may take. Therefore, scholarship is not a qualification necessary to understand Krishna. Do not think that if I become a scholar, if I get a PhD in Sanskrit, I can understand about Krishna. No, that is not the qualification at all. Because the great devotees of the Lord, many of them are even illiterate. Right? It does not matter. Bhaktyamam abhijanati. That means Lord is understood only by pure devotional service. And even the great demigods and the great sages also have tried to understand Krishna by their mental speculation, but they have all failed. You see that, a lot of people try to speculate mentally that, oh, Krishna maybe is a great strategy. Krishna is this, Krishna is that. Oh, maybe Krishna is this. This is called mental speculation. We should not try to speculate. See, it's very simple, okay? If I have to understand more about somebody, I just have to go to that person and ask that person, because he is the best person to talk about himself. Similarly, when you have to understand about the Supreme absolute truth, the infinity, the Supreme Lord must himself talk about himself. So unless he speaks about himself, nobody would know. To some extent, the Mahajanas, the 12 Mahajanas, like Vyasadev, Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, they know to some extent. It's not they understand completely. They understand to some extent that he is the Supreme Lord. But again, it's not even complete understanding. Nobody can completely understand Krishna. Krishna also cannot understand himself. Because by the time he understands himself, he is expanded into something else. He's ever expanding. His energy is inconceivable. So even the great demigods and the great sages have tried, but they have failed. So the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is clearly said that the great demigods are unable to understand Lord Sri Krishna. The first sloka of Srimad Bhagavatam, it says, Muhyanti Yatsurayaha. That means they get bewildered. The Suryaha, or the great personalities, they become very confused. Just like Indra. When Lord Krishna stopped the fire sacrifice for Indra, the Vrajavasis, the Vrindavan Vasis, every year they used to perform one fire sacrifice for the pleasure of Indra. But then Lord Krishna, by his argument, forcibly stopped it. And he said, let us worship Govardhan. And now Indra became very confused. He became very furious. And he wanted to find out. And he wanted to completely finish this Vrindavan. He gave the instructions to his clouds. He said, he summoned the Samvartaka cloud and he said, drown the Vrindavan and the Vrindavan Vasis. Let me see what that small boy will say. Because of the instructions of a small boy, they have stopped my sacrifice. Now let me finish them along with their cows. I will finish them. Then the torrential rain started and everybody came running towards Krishna, asking for his shelter. Krishna effortlessly lifted the Govardhana and gave shelter to them 7 days and 7 nights. The rain went on. Indra tried his best, but he was exhausted of all his resources. Then he became humiliated. Then he realized his mistake. He did not know how to face Krishna now. Because that Supreme Personality of Godhead, who has appointed him to become Indra, he has forgotten and he is challenging his position. So therefore he comes to the feet of Lord Krishna. Along with, he calls Surabhi, and they do incarnation for Krishna. They do Abhishekam for Krishna. And then he begs for forgiveness. Lord Brahma becomes confused. When Lord Krishna, he was performing one of the pastimes, right? That is the Aghasura, the killing of the Aghasura demon, the huge snake, gigantic snake. It is very impossible to kill such Aghasura because even the demigods were scared of Aghasura. And when this Aghasura was killed, there was a huge noise and celebration in the upper planetary systems. And then Lord Brahma heard that and he saw what's going on. He said, okay, this small boy killed this dangerous demon Aghasura. Let me see what he can do. And then he goes down. At that time, Krishna is having his lunch along with his friends. Krishna loves his friends. So he's sitting in the center, just like a lotus. There is a center, right? Around that there are petals. Like that, all the friends are sitting around him. The calves have been sent to grazing and they're peacefully enjoying their lunch. At that point of time, Lord Brahma comes and then steal the calves first. And then one of the boys comes running and says, Krishna, the calves are missing. Krishna, while eating his food, he gets up. So he has something in his food. He has a morsel of the food inside his hands. So there is fruit, there is curd, yogurt, rice, and there is fruits inside it. And he's having it inside his hands. And with that hands, he's going to find out where are the calves. You see what's happening? He's in the middle of his lunch with his best friends. And Lord Brahma has stolen his calves just to see what he can do. Then what happened? So then he goes there and then he finds out that the calves are not there. And then he comes back and sees that, all the, even the boys are also stolen now by Brahma. Brahma stole them and took them to Brahmaloka. It's a challenge to Krishna. Krishna very easily replicated himself into all the calves, into all the cowherd boys, until Brahma came back. It almost took 1 year for Brahma to come back. It was just a moment for him. Because of the relativity of time, it took almost 1 year. And then Lord Krishna, he expanded himself and he was exactly performing the same kind of actions these kids were doing. So Lord Krishna was served by their mothers. And all these calves were served by the mother cows. And they were all in bliss. They were all enjoying so much. Then Brahma realized, came back and he saw that everything was intact. And he got shocked. How can somebody create? I am the creator. And then he realized, oh, this is my father. I have done an offense. And then he comes and then pays obeisances to Krishna. The little boy there and begs for forgiveness and says, I've done a great offense to you. And I've disturbed you when you were with your devotees. Kindly forgive me. Very beautiful prayers that comes in the 10th canto, 14th chapter by Lord Brahma. Muhyanti Yatsuraya. Nobody can understand Krishna. So the demigods, they repeatedly try to challenge Krishna and then they realize their mistake and their pride is beaten to dust. So what to talk about? So this is the position of the demigods, and then we have the philosophers and the so-called philosophers, and we have so many people. So they try to speculate. They try to theorize that who is Krishna, who is somebody, who is something. So what can they speculate? They have got their imperfect senses. Imperfect senses means I cannot see beyond 200 meters, 1 kilometer, 10 kilometers. I cannot see up to 100 kilometers. The eagle can see from 10,000 feet, but I cannot see clearly. That's my imperfect sense. So with my imperfect sense, imperfect mind, imperfect intelligence, how can I try to speculate about the Supreme? Just imagine if in one brain we can remember so many things, right? How intelligent must the Supreme be? He's super intelligence. So how can our tiny brain try to speculate about the super intelligence? It's not possible. So therefore, some Maharshis or the sages, they come to the conclusion, because they are unable to understand Krishna, they say, okay, there is no God, because they become frustrated, because they try to speculate about Lord with their limited intelligence, but they're not able to come to a conclusion. Therefore, out of frustration, they say that, the Lord is impersonal. He doesn't have any form, because they're not able to understand about Lord. But that is their imperfect sense. We just have to accept as it is. When the Lord comes in front of us and says, Aham Adirhi Devanam Maharshinam Cha Sarvashaha, he's himself saying, I am the source of all the demigods and the Maharshis and the great sages. And in all respects, I am their origin. They can never understand me. We have to take it as it is. That's why this commentary is called Bhagavad-gītā as it is. That means there is no speculation added. There is no necessity to speculate. Why should we speculate? When the Supreme Lord is saying in very simple words, simple statements, it's very easy. Why don't we just accept? Why should we speculate? And this speculation is a disease, right? So this is the disease of the three modes of material nature. So, but the sages, they like this speculation. So they try to speculate whether Supreme Lord is impersonal, whether Supreme Lord is this or that, whether Supreme Lord doesn't exist, etc. So they try to come to an imaginary conclusion. And Prabhupada is writing here that, you can never understand the Supreme by such imaginary conclusions. By such imagination, you can never understand God. God is not something to be imagined. You cannot imagine God. He's unimaginable. So Lord is indirectly saying that if you want to know about the absolute truth, here I am. I am the Supreme. If you are searching out for the absolute truth, the Supreme Lord, Krishna is saying, don't waste your time. I am the Supreme. It is enough if you know this. Right? Even if you cannot understand the inconceivable Lord, it does not matter at all, because He always exists. No, one can foolishly say there is no sun. One day there was a person who was saying there's no God, there's no God, there's no God. Right? It's like saying there's no barber who can shave my beard. The problem is that it's not that there's no barber to shave the beard, but this guy never went to the barber shop. That's his problem. Somebody who is sitting inside his house and shutting all the doors and windows and staying in darkness and accusing that there is no sun. It's not the problem of the sun. The sun doesn't have to come in front of him to prove it. It is for him to take out the windows, open the doors, come out of the house and see the sun shining. It is this person's problem. It is ignorance. So if Krishna's energy, Krishna's mercy is there for everybody, it is for us to open our doors, open our windows, and come out and see, take it. Simply study His words and accept them as it is, without any speculation, any kind of adjustments. What is the need of adjustments? Lord Chaitanya says, whatever is straightforward in the Vedas, it doesn't need to be adjusted. You need to adjust only those things which are contradictory or which is not clear. But when Krishna in 700 verses is very clearly saying, I am the Supreme, where is the need for the adjustment of this scholar of the tiny world? These attempts must be given up. So the conception, sometimes these so-called scholars, they say it is impersonal Brahman. But that's not the case. Here is saying most of the men cannot understand Krishna in his actual situation, and only out of his causeless mercy he descends to show the favor to that speculators. So many people, It is said there are so many impersonalist speculators who say Supreme is impersonal. Supreme doesn't have a form. From this Supreme, all the demigods have come. They are not as powerful as the Supreme formless God. What do you mean by formless God? Right? So this is called mental speculators they are. So to show them, he has come, descended. Why did Supreme Lord descend? He came to perform uncommon activities to show to these speculators, to show favor to the speculators who are trying to say that Supreme Lord is impersonal. So he's showing this Leela, Govardhana Leela, Brahma Vimohana Leela, Aghasura Leela, explaining Bhagavad Gita, showing the Vishwarupa. He's doing all of this as a favor to the speculators to show them that it is not the impersonal Brahman who is the Supreme. I am the Supreme. And he's himself speaking and saying it. So therefore, only the plain-hearted devotees, simple-hearted, humble devotees who are fully surrendered to the Supreme Lord can understand it by the grace of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They do not bother about the impersonal conception of the Lord. And see how fortunate they are. They simply accepted Krishna as it is, just like the residents of the Vrindavana. They don't know anything or anybody except Krishna. That's it. That is their faith. The cows of Vrindavan, who are under the protection of Krishna, when there is a forest fire, their prayers are very intense and they're saying, we do not know anybody but you. We are fully surrendered unto you. Please save us. This is the prayers that attracts Lord. This is a pure prayer. We should pray, oh my dear Lord, who has no birth, you have taken birth out of your causeless mercy to perform your uncommon pastimes. It is so wonderful for us to understand how the Supreme Lord has taken birth, who is birthless. That is called a pure prayer. And there is a contaminated prayer saying the formless Lord has taken a form now. That is contaminated prayer. Or saying that I am equal to you, you are equal to me. This is not called a prayer. It's an insult. It's an offense. So it is a causeless mercy of Krishna. Only then we can understand Krishna. Nobody can understand him. Okay? So it is he whom we have to worship. So I'll show you one picture. Very important. Very nice. Interesting. So we're trying to understand about the Devatas. Who is the origin of the Devatas, right? So let us see that. So the origin of the Devatas, if you see here, so it is said that Lord Brahma is born out of Lord Vishnu, right? And it is given in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the creation sequence. First, Lord Brahma is born from Lord Vishnu, from his navel. And then the first four people who came out of Lord Brahma were the four Kumaras. They came out of first, four Kumaras. And then Lord Brahma, he requested these four Kumaras, can you please increase the population of the world? They denied. They said, no, sorry, we are fully realized. We do not want to get into the material connection of marriage. I am sorry, my dear father, we cannot execute your instructions. Lord Brahma became very frustrated, angry, sad, depressed. And out of his anger came the 11 Rudras. And then they started crying, the 11 Rudras. And then Lord Brahma said, can you go and increase the population of the world? Then the Rudras went ahead and started destroying the universe. Then Lord Brahma said, please stop. You are only supposed to be doing it at the time of the destruction. So please wait, please go ahead, please go and do tapasya. So then the Rudras will go. So the 11 Rudras, the chief of the 11 Rudras is Shankara. Rudranam Shankaras Chasmi, Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita. The 11 Rudras are born out of Brahma. And the sages, Saptarishis, all of them are coming from Lord Brahma. All the great sages are coming from Lord Brahma. All the devatas are coming from him. So this is the Lord Vishnu. And this Lord Vishnu has 3 incarnations: Kshirodakashai, Garbhodakashai, and Karanodakashai. So let us say this is Mahavishnu, Karanodakashai Vishnu. He has got a source, who is Sankarshana. Vasudeva Sankarshana Pradyumna Aniruddha. And that Chaturvyuha has got another source, Vasudeva Sankarshana Pradyumna Aniruddha. That Chaturvyuha has got a source, Lord Balaram. That source of everybody, source of Lord Balaram is Lord Krishna. Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govindam Sarva Karana Karanam. This is the sequence. So Lord Krishna is unborn, who is present in the topmost abode, that is in the Golok Vrindavana. He is always present in his abode, and he has got no duty to perform. And out of his causeless mercy, he has descended in this material world and has performed uncommon activities for showing the speculators his favor, for showing favor to his pure devotees, to reclaim back all the pure devotees back to Godhead by showing his pastime. So we have to take his message as it is, without spoiling it, without touching it, as it is. We simply have to surrender to the Supreme Lord and worship him by all means. That is the message of Bhagavad-gītā. So, in this verse, we see how Krishna is saying very clearly that nobody understands about him. It is not possible to understand about the Supreme Lord unless he gives them mercy. It is the Upanishad Vakya. Nayam Atma, that means the Atma, the Paramatma, the Supreme Lord cannot be understood by our own efforts, not by reading the Vedas, not by doing tapasya, not by doing anything. There is no activity at all that can actually make you understand about the Lord, except for hearing from the Supreme Lord. All we have to do is hear, Shravanam. We have to attentively hear from the Lord. And we have to accept it as it is, without trying to speculate. Should hear from the spiritual master. We should hear from the pure devotee in the parampara. Proper explanation. Then, by the causeless mercy of the Supreme Lord, then we can understand the Lord. Otherwise, nobody can understand him. By the mercy of Lord Vishnu, Brahma is able to see him and able to understand him to some extent. Right? So that is the conclusion, dear devotees, for today. So we'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Anybody has any questions? Hare Krishna. Pranams. Hare Krishna. Anybody has any questions or anything to comment? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Okay, I'll ask Hare Krishna. I'll ask you some questions. Okay, quick one. So who was born from Lord Brahma first?
The 4 Kumaras.
The 4 Kumaras, right? That's nice. Okay, thank you. And then, what is the first expansion from Lord Krishna? From Lord Krishna, who is the first expansion?
Balram.
Balaram. Okay, that's right. And then, is it possible to speculate about the Supreme Lord? Can we try to understand with our literary capacity, scholarship?
No, Prabhuji. No, Prabhuji.
It's not possible. It's not possible. Then how do you understand the Supreme? And who can understand the Supreme?
Only through devotional service we can.
Or through a devotional service and by his causeless mercy only. So only those people who have causeless mercy of the Lord can understand him. The others, even if they attempt, they can't understand Lord. Okay, thank you. Hare Krishna.